See. Okay. So again, I'm recording this. Once again, good afternoon to everyone. So welcome to your quality assurance, instrumentation, and laboratory entrepreneurship. So just to formalize everything, I am Jomar Adams Ganding, and I will be your lecture professor for Quale. For the laboratory, I guess you will be meeting them um, tomorrow, I guess. So you'll be meeting them in your laboratory time. So majority of the lecture are will be handled by myself, and then with alongside with Mom Nell. So I think Mom Nell will be handling one or two sections for the lecture. Okay? So if in case you have any questions for today, okay, if you have any questions or clarifications, you may raise your hand. And from time to time, I'll be asking you guys to raise your hand if I'm asking for some clarification, if I'm clear or not. Aside from that, I would also request some of you if you can turn on your camera if your internet is well working. Please turn on your cam. So this would be part of the orientation later on with regards to the camera, the usage of camera during classes and even during quizzes and examination. Okay? So before we start formally, may I just request, sige, sinong tatawagan natin dito? Um, Ayun, nandito na si Moira. Moira, can you please lead us in an afternoon prayer? Moira.
Hello po. I can't turn on the cam po kasi po naka-phone po ako ngayon. Hinihintay ko pa pong
Go, go.
ginagawa pa po
Go
yung
lang.
laptop.
Mm-mm.
So, in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, amen. So bless us Lord for this day. Sana po maging maganda po tong semester na to para po sa atin. Sana po marami po kami matutunan. And sana po maging maging okay po yung lahat sa ah, maging okay po yung lahat, especially po sa mga nangyayari po ngayon sa paligid. Sorry po sir, medyo affected lang po kasi ako. Ayun.
It's
And
okay.
may God bless us all po. Thank you. In the name of the Father, the
Oh,
Son, the Holy Spirit.
amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Moira. And ayun, no, it's actually the first time this year or this school year that I will be meeting you guys because the last time was CPH pandemic din non, if you can still remember. So a lot of things happened already. So I don't have any subjects in the first semester. So this is my first time also teaching the second year again. So quality assurance, instrumentation and laboratory entrepreneurship will actually be a primer for you guys for your clinical years. I just want to remind everybody that you are a SEM away from your clinical years. You're a SEM away from that white uniform. You are a SEM away from all the clinical subjects in the third year. So we really need to siguro no, if there's one thing, one subject din talaga in your lineup right now alongside with PMLSP2, of course your medtech clause, lahat yun all clinical na eh. If you can observe, most of your subjects right now are all handled by medical tech, by the CMT. So this goes to show that you're actually really entering the professional subjects already. Actually, you have one already, which is the medtech laws and bioethics. And your quality assurance, that's our subjects, quale, okay, we call it quale for short. Quale is actually a combination of all the clinical subjects in the third year. So, dito matitikman nyo na how the clinical years would look like. And hopefully you'll be able to really understand everything because a lot of the things that we're gonna discuss today, okay, and the succeeding meetings are all foundational for your third year subjects. Okay, so again, good afternoon, and I want to before anything else, I want to pick it up from what Moira said. That there is truly, di ba, there's a lot of things happening around us. And I would just like to echo what Mom Violi once said in one of our meeting, that we can, yes, di ba, all of the things that are happening around us is because of this pandemic, it's because of this COVID, but we also need to ask ourselves, for how long are we gonna blame everything to the pandemic? Take for example, pag we're feeling down, 'di ba? Yes, it's because of the pandemic, but we also need to have that optimistic perspective already to take a look at it na this is really is it. Ito na yung new reality ng bawat isa. And we do not know for how long will this online classes will be continuing. Diba? So, a lot of us, madami pa rin tayong uncertainties in this coming year. But one thing is for sure, di ba? One thing is for sure, for this semester, we will be in a full blast online class for the entire semester. So hopefully, I have heard high regards from your batch. Okay, I have heard high regards from your HAP, from your PST, from Momnel. So I'm actually expecting quite high for you guys, and I'm hoping na we'll be able to help you. I personally will be able to help you understand the lessons better and clearly. Okay, so moving forward, let us first start with saying, of course, walang orientation. The orientation is not complete without first going back to the vision and mission of Trinity. Okay? We want to re-echo this every now and then, especially for you guys um, who will be entering the clinical years by next semester, God willing, di ba? All of you will really need to imbibe this because you are the future Trinitian doctors who will be leading our society. So, of course, the vision of Trinity is to become a premier Christian university in the Asia and Pacific. And not only that, what we aim is to really transform you guys as learners becoming now leaders. Okay? And I want to emphasize on you guys being leaders, specifically in this time of pandemic. Maybe some of you will be asking, sir, I don't need to think about that because I don't have anyone with me right now to lead. But you have forgotten one person, and that is yourself. One of the hardest person to actually lead is ourselves. So you really need to lead yourselves um, effectively and efficiently in this time of online platform. Kasi, 'di ba? Minus the physical presence of your instructors, of your professors, a lot of the things will really fall into your discipline. 'Di ba? A lot of those things will be because of your discipline. So you really need to not just learn, 'di ba? In this pandemic, we might not have physical classes, but you still need to really develop the leader within you. And that is by leading yourself today. Okay? That is by leading yourself today. So, like what I was mentioning a while back, okay, that Qual is actually a primer or rather an introduction to a lot of your clinical subjects next semester. So, I would insert here our mission because your let's just say your quale would actually try to prepare you already for your clinical subjects. Although the reality is we cannot really fully alam mo yun, we cannot fully prepare you emotionally, mentally for the clinical years. But at least, 'di ba? Um academically, all will be laid out for you so that you'll be able to be more competent, be more productive when you reach your clinical years. Of course, on top of that, diba, the mission of Trinity is also to develop you to become socially responsible citizen. Of course, I know you guys know this already, but let me just repeat this some of the key things for you here, specifically this graduate attributes. I do hopefully you actually are starting to realize that you are halfway the BSMT MLS program already. Some of you I met during your first year in HIS. Some of you under my CPH second semester during your first year. And now, right before you enter your clinical year, we're here. And I am here once again reminding you that at the end of the day, diba, after your 4 year stay in Trinity, what we actually aim is not just to install or not just to download knowledge and competencies in you, but most importantly, that each and every one of you would have the graduate attributes of every Trinesian. Kumbaga, if somebody would look at you, di ba, these are the distinct characteristic of a Trinesian graduate. The first and foremost is us being God-centered, okay? Being socially responsible, being professionally competent, becoming a creative and innovator, to become a more proficient leader, and on top of those things is to become a lifelong learner, okay? To become a lifelong learner. So, we all need to, every now and then, di ba? Every now and then we need to take a retrospective reflection and reflect on these things. Do I have this already? Kasi magto third year na ako. Am I developing this? Am I already there? So those kind of reflection would actually enable you to know areas that you need to improve on and areas that you need to ask from your instructors and professors, 'di ba? So it's really it's really a it's not a one-way development for you guys, but talagang we will be helping each other get to that. Okay? So of course, the biggest question in your mind right now is that what is quale? And perhaps you have asked some of your seniors, some of the third year already, what is quale? I don't know. Okay. So who among you asked about quale already? See, can I see a raise of hands? Sino nang may idea ng quale? Sinong nagtanong? Who asked your seniors, yung mga ate kuya ninyo? Okay, 149 pa lang po, tulog na po yata ang O5. Okay, so, any idea for Quale? Let's go, okay, so walang sumasagot sa akin. Alcohol. Okay. Hyacinth. Yambao.
Hello po.
Hi, okay. So, what did you hear about Quale from your upper
Um,
batch?
I haven't asked po.
Ayan,
So I
very
have
good.
no
What are you
idea.
expecting?
Um, parang ano po siya. Ang tawag dito. Parang biostat po namin.
That.
Para continuation po, I think.
Okay. Ayan. So, thank you for that, Hyacinth. Siguro, a more similar to bias that will be your data analytics. Ayan. Your data analytics siguro this sem. Okay? Although, yeah, there are a couple of math in this course. So, sige, tanong naman natin si ano. Let's go to Ulang, Daphne, Sam.
Yes po.
Ikaw, anong nasagap mong balita about Quale?
I didn't ask din po.
Okay, but what are you expecting in Quale? Hello?
May mga specific activities po.
Okay. Okay. So, thank you for that. Okay, so wala lang. I just most of you really have no idea yet, but hopefully by this orientation this afternoon, you'll be able to have a quick run through and a perspective of what the quali is all about. Okay, so let me start. Okay, there is somebody who messaged about maintaining laboratory apparatus. Okay, so thank you, Aaron. Ayan, si Aaron to. So, maintaining laboratory apparatus. Yeah, we'll be talking about a lot of laboratory apparatus, but not the usual beaker, hindi na mga glassware, and not even the we'll talk about microscope, of course, but those are just a few examples. Okay? So thank you for those insights. So let's proceed. So, of course, tayo naman, 'di ba, as medtech, 'di ba? Ito yung ano natin. I'll be posting the syllabus to you guys. I will not be going through the entire thing anymore. I'll just go straight. So, what is quale? Okay? So maybe most of you, that is your $1 million question. Okay? So your quale is a institutional subject. So meaning to say, when you go to other universities, you actually don't have any school to compare it with, because it's the Trinity is the only one who's offering it as of the moment. So right now, um, CMT Elect, ayan, CMT Elect 2 is the course code. Course code for Quale, which is the complete title is Quality Assurance, Instrumentation, and Laboratory Entrepreneurship. So having said that, hopefully you have a bird's eye view already that our course will be divided into three major partition. The first one will be quality assurance. We'll be talking about quality control, if you can still remember that from your PMLSP 1. Quality control, intra-laboratory quality control, and inter-laboratory quality control. If before, you just discussed the definition of those, here, what we're going to discuss is actually the procedure, the principle of quality control and quality assurance. At the same time, you'll be performing activities, gaya nga ng sabi ni Ulang, activities in the laboratory which are related to this. Okay? So, we'll be meeting once a week. So, that is 3 hours, guys. Ha? 3 hour, no, not 3 hours. 2 hours, okay? 2 hours a week. So, we only meet once a week. That's why we need to maximize really the time that we have every single meeting. So, the prerequisites here, so it's PMLSP1. So a lot of the things from PMLSP1 are will be dig deeper in Quale. Okay? So let's go to the course description. So kanina I was mentioning that Quale is divided into three: quality assurance, instrumentation, and laboratory entrepreneurship. So the main goal of this course is to introduce the fundamentals of laboratory robotics and and its relevance, um, quality assurance, and the total operation of the healthcare institution. So maybe most of you would actually think about um, how can we make sure that a laboratory result is actually reliable? That when a particular machine, when a particular medical technologist release a particular result, how can we make sure that that is actually accurate, that is actually precise, that is reliable? The answer is quality assurance. Okay? The answer is quality assurance. Quality assurance is a systemic process that we are doing to make sure the not only the quality, 'di ba na syempre, of course we're making sure of the quality, but we're also making sure of the accuracy and precision of all the laboratory results. Have you encountered specifically, let me take a good example from this pandemic. I don't know if you have heard news that there are patients that are testing false negative, or either false positive, or false negative in a particular test, correct? So if you are using your antigen kit or your antibody kit, there's a possibility that you would need that you would actually have a false result, either false negative, meaning to say you don't have the disease, but the test kit would say that you have the disease, or vice versa. You do have the disease, but the kit cannot detect that you have that you are infected. So all of those things are actually issues of quality assurance. And maybe maybe some of you will be asking, sir, those false negative and those false positive results, will that mean that the test or the machine or the medtech or the reagent is unreliable? Not necessarily. Okay? Not necessarily. Because I don't know if you still remember from your stats, there is we are following a 95% confidence interval, correct? 95% confidence interval, so meaning to say there is really a 5% margin of error. Okay, and those are falling into those false negative, false positive. If they fall within that 5% pa lamang, okay, we can still say that it is acceptable, that the machine, that reagent, that medtech are still reliable. Okay? Alongside with that, we're gonna talk about laboratory robotics. Not only automations in spectrophotometry or in um, electrical impedance or flow cytometry for hematology, but also for bacteriology, for immunology, serology. All of those things will be discussed in this course. Okay? So, I know, di ba, based on the facial expression of my previous students in Quali before, sometimes it's a lot to take in. Okay? It's a lot to take in. But I'm here to assure you that Quali, okay, is just meant to introduce, okay, the concept. And then eventually when you reach your ClinChem 1, HEMA 1, micro, all of those things will be expounded further. Okay? So, so far, am I clear? Can I see a raise of hands if I'm clear so far? And for me to know that you are all still awake. Okay, si Aaron lang ang gising. Okay? So, thank you so much. Okay. I'm thinking baka may lag lang sa akin. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Okay, so moving forward, that is an intro for quality assurance, an intro of robotics. Alongside with that, we're also gonna talk about the general concept in entrepreneurship and in establishing a clinical laboratory business. So for most of you, okay, you might actually consider not being a medtech, not pursuing becoming a doctor, but really becoming a laboratory owner. Okay? So in the course learning outcome, this is our goal that by the end of this 18 weeks, okay, by the end of this 18 weeks, you'll be able now to elucidate the core concepts of quality assurance in the clinical laboratory. So when we say quality assurance, you'll be able to explain what is QA versus QC, because those are two different things. Okay? What is under QA? Is it QA under QC or QC under QA? Those types of misconceptions. Secondly, you'll be able to identify and explain the different components of a quality assurance in the laboratory. So like what I was mentioning a while back, we'll be talking about inter-laboratory QC and intra-laboratory QC. Okay, may I ask the class, who can differentiate inter laboratory QC from intra laboratory QC? Who can differentiate it? Okay, wait. I'll look for someone to call. Okay, may mga natatandaan akong DL dito sa class na to. So, okay, let's go with Erica Tan. Erica, hi Erica, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me po?
Yeah, you're audible.
With the inter-quality assurance po, usually it's a day-to-day activities na ginagawa sa loob ng lab mismo. And yung external quality assurance po, normally external agencies yung gumagawa. May Comparing the two, mas madalas ginagawa yung internal kaysa sa external kasi po yung external normally parang scheduled siya ginagawa per year. Yun.
Ayun. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm very happy to hear that, ha, because you have an idea of what external and internal QC is all about. Well, it's true. Your internal QC, you do that every single day, depending on the number of depending on the protocol of your laboratory, of course. Because there are some laboratory who would want it every shift or would want it every day, once a day lang. Okay, thank you so much, Erica. So that's very well said. Uh, moving forward, that is QA, di ba? At least you have an idea already. And we're on the same page. And you still remember your PMLSP 1. So, third, okay, um, third is to explain the importance of QC and QA in each clinical laboratory section. So I cannot overemphasize it because in the long run, as we go along, you would always hear me say that we're not just after performing the test, but we're after the quality of your test, diba? The quality of your test. Sometimes, diba? Um, machine are machines, humans are humans. There will be errors along the way, but it is very important that those errors are actually controlled and are within the acceptable limits. Why? Because take for example, let's just be more practical. Take for example, your machine continually release high results. So even if your blood glucose, take for example, is normal, the machine would always flag it as abnormal. Yung glucose mo, our glucose, take for example, the reference range for glucose is from 70 milligrams per deciliter to 105 milligrams per deciliter. So 70 to 105. So laging more than 105. And all of your patients will actually be candidate for diabetes. Diba? And if that's the case, you really need to look into your QA to make sure that all of your results are actually reliable and are accurate. Okay? Because you don't want to actually be releasing results that are erroneous. Why? Because your 4-year hard work can easily be gone in just a snap of a finger dahil sa maling results that you were able to release in the laboratory. Okay? Fourth, okay, is to elucidate the principles and uses of different instrumentation used in the clinical laboratory. I believe that most of you are very much acquainted already with the microscope. What is the key characteristic of the microscope? On the chat box, everyone. A microscope should be what? What is the main characteristic? Okay, correct. Thank you so much. It should be parfocal. Okay, it should be parfocal. And as you can see, you're very much acquainted with microscope. But in the clinical laboratory, we don't just use the microscope. Although, yes, it is the symbol of our profession, it's not the only instrument or apparatus that we manipulate inside the laboratory. Okay? We also make use of other machines like spectrophotometer, your nephelometer, your electrophoresis, um, your hematology analyzers, a lot of things pa. Okay, not only the microscope. And those are the things that we're gonna talk about around midterms. Okay, around midterms, we'll start talking about the different instrumentation already. Okay. Fifth is for you guys to be able to demonstrate technical competencies in which the different instrument in the clinical laboratory are being used. So, I believe that during your HAP, you did have your virtual laboratory. You'll be having the same thing in the laboratory. We'll be doing activities. That's true, and we'll be doing. We do have virtual. What do you call this? We do have virtual video for the laboratory as well, so that you'll be acquainted and you'll be familiar already with the spectrophotometer. Okay, for the spectrophotometer. Um, s- Next will be the last one would be to elucidate the importance of entrepreneurship in the world of healthcare. So we'll be talking about um, entrepreneurship, 2 meetings by the end of our course. So that is during the finals, okay? During the finals. So having said that now, okay, talking about Quale, again, let me reiterate it to you guys that we have 3 components. The first one is, of course, quality assurance. We talk about, ayan, can you see this? Okay, by merely looking at this one, take for example, these are the tests that you did in the laboratory. By merely looking at this one, I can see if there are errors. Ayan, I can see that there are errors in this particular run up until here. So all of these you will be learning in this course. So a lot of the medical technology, siguro no, most of you didn't know that medical technologists also do this because they are also the one making sure of your making sure of your machine reliability. For a long time, I've been working. I don't know if Louis would be familiar with this. Um, the biosystems A15, that machine in the clinical chemistry, was my machine when I was working in the lab. And in Trinity, that is the very same machine that we have. So those things produces this type of chart. So anong tawag sa ganitong chart? This is your Levy-Jennings chart, okay? This is your Levy-Jennings chart. Tama si Yambao kanina talking about some biostat here because we'll be talking about mean, SD, and your coefficient of variation. But not only quality assurance, but we'll also talk about your instrumentation. Okay, your instrumentation. So in this particular example, this is actually your spectrophotometer. So your spectrophotometer is a very, very well used instrumentation in the clinical laboratory. Not just in ClinChem, but across the clinical laboratory. And of course, we'll be talking about the laboratory entrepreneurship. Okay? Laboratory entrepreneurship. So I hope it did get you excited. And if there are any questions, ayan, I can see Turla already. Are there any questions so far? Am I clear? If I'm clear, can I see a raise of hand if I'm clear? Okay, thank you so much. So most of you are raising your hands. So if you have any questions, you can ask them out or later before we end. Sir, may book po ba? Okay, I'll get to that in a short while. Okay, so sige, with regards to the book, since I'm crossing the requirements already for the book, okay, for the book, there is no specific, like there is no one book that I would require you to buy. Why? Because as I mentioned, your quale is actually an introduction of most of your clinical subjects. So from micro, literally all of your clinical subjects will be introduced here. And if I ask you to buy them already, baka masyadong hindi practical. Okay? It's not practical. If there's one book perhaps that if there is one thing that I can actually suggest you buying as early as today, because you'll be using that next semester, third year, and even in fourth year, and even in your board exam, will be the Henrys. Okay, I'll give you the list of the books that you will be using. At the same time, okay, at the same time, I have curated ebooks already. May curated ako na mga ebooks. I can send it to you. I can actually post that in our TLC once all of you have the access there. Okay? So, are we good with that? So, in short, wala akong ire-require sa inyo ipabili, pero may ire-require ako sa inyo ipabasa. Okay? I hope that's clear. Okay? Another question here before I proceed. This means na we will rely on concepts of analytical chemistry. Analytical chemistry kasi, ANAChem, is more on the computation of molarity, di ba? More on the computational chemistry. ANAChem, not much. Okay? Not much of the Anakim. Okay? Not much of the Anakim. But sakto lang. Okay? Saks, medyo lang. Ganon. So, will be, if we're gonna talk about where you guys are transversing the higher level of chemistry in some of our discussions. Ayun. Ayun. Hopefully I answered that. Anakem hindi masyado eh. Ayun. Okay, so let me proceed, okay? So sige, you can post your questions, and by the way, if makat ako along the way, please tell me so that I would know if I like need to go back to a particular slide. So the course requirements, okay, the course requirements is first, okay, major examinations. I cannot overemphasize this once again because this is 40% of your total grades. Online quizzes, we have journal readings. Um, I think I will be announcing the journal readings by next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is already February 2. So next Tuesday, Feb 2, I'll be announcing that already. Kasi I would need to have the final roster of the students pa. Ay before I give further instructions para hindi rin masyadong overwhelmed today. Okay, moving forward, we also have chapter readings and assignments, group discussions, not only in the lecture, but most probably in your laboratory, because that is a 3-hour laboratory class. Okay, so I would want, guys, I'll have a separate um, orientation on this quickly on Tuesday, especially with regards to journal readings. I will opt to do it next meeting na lang. Number one, so that you would be able to see the TLC already and all the things that I will be saying so that you would understand it better. Okay? So moving on, okay, these are your course requirements and this is our grading system. Question, what is our passing grade? Passing grade for Quale. Any idea? What is the passing grade for Quale? 60? 70? 70? Okay, this is, okay. The passing grade for this is 70%. Okay? And I want you guys to really be aware of this. Like your HAP, it's 70%. Okay? 70% po tayo. Okay? So 70% for it to be transmuted to 75. So for your quale, we will be divided into two, your laboratory and your lecture. Your laboratory is 40%, and I will just let the laboratory class explain it further for you guys and explain all the nitty-gritty details, nitty-gritty of laboratory. For the lecture, that 60% will be coming from your class standing and your major exam. 60% will be coming from your class standing. And what is that class is standing pa when we dissect it? 30% will be from your quizzes. So expect that since we are meeting once a week, every single meeting we will be having a quiz in my subject. Okay? And yun, every meeting we will be having a quiz. So that is 30%. Recitation is 10%. Journal critiquing, case analysis, and group discussions, that is 20%. So you'll be having some submissions and you would need to do well on that because that is also 20%. That is the entire 60% for your class standing. And of course, a big chunk will be coming from your major exam, which is 40%. Okay? 40% will be coming from your major exams. And I really need you guys to take note of this para walang magugulat comes midterm grade consultation. For the midterm grade, for the final grade rather, 40% will be coming from your midterm, 50% will be coming from your tentative final grade, and then we'll be adding the attendance, which is 10%. That's a big, big help for you guys. So I would really be um, strict when it comes to checking the attendance. Okay? The attendance of all the students attending my classes. So, moving forward, sabi ko nga, the passing rate is 70%. Okay? 70%. And at the very least, you had a gauge already of your efforts from HAP and PS principles of teaching. So you'll be able to like assess yourself if pang 70% na ba tong effort na to o hindi pa. Okay? So for the journal critiquing, no need to take a photo of this because I'll be sending the orientation PowerPoint by Tuesday. And also, um, you will be seeing this in your syllabi that will be sent as well by Tuesday. Okay? Ito na lang yung kailangan, ito. Okay, this is the criteria for your recitation. Your recitation, if you can still remember, is 10%. Okay? Sir, will we be able to speak, every one of you, speak in the class? Of course, you will be able to speak if you would want to, if you would really volunteer yourself. Do not wait na lang for me to every time to call one by each one of you, but you can actually volunteer. Okay? Aside from that, I am also looking into giving you a written recitation, okay, a written recitation to really have an actual basis for your recitations. Okay? So that is for the recitation. So we really do value the recitation part. So personally, 'di ba, when we go to the concepts, like just like what I did to Erica Tan a while back, I would want to hear how you understood the lesson so that I will be able to calibrate and recalibrate as well if we need to add more info or to clarify some important concepts in our course. Okay? So, of course, it would also be ano naman if for the entire 2 hours, ako lang lagi, 'di ba? So, these are the things that I want you guys to remember. Okay? So for our schedule, we are having classes Tuesday 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. So that is 2 hours of complete every meeting synchronous tayo. Okay? Although of course, there will be time that I'll be giving you break in betweens naman. So do not worry about that. I'll give you breaks in between and even asynchronous activity at the end so that I can dismiss you earlier. Question: do you have other subjects pa after me? Do you have other subjects pa after 3:30? None na po. Okay. So that's good. At least you can rest. Ayan, I can take for example for 30 minutes, meron pa tayong extra 30 minutes, I can dismiss you earlier. That's no problem. Okay, thank you so much for answering. So, ayan, later, if you have any questions or yung mga gusto niyo nang itanong, you can ask that later. Okay? So, stretching muna. So, I'll be discussing to you guys the different policies for virtual classes. So, I'll give you a quick 2-minute break. So, go ahead. At exactly 2:22, I'll start the the rules and the policies that we need to abide, that we need to follow. So I'll give you 2 minutes as a short and quick break before we proceed. And I can also see Emma here already. Okay. So please stretching muna. Ayan. And I will be back at exactly 2:22. Okay, so we're back. So, can you guys confirm? Am I audible? Hello? Okay, thank you. So, moving forward, let's just finish this one before we end. Um, Here. So for the policies for the virtual classes, let me just reiterate everything to you guys so that everything will be clear. Ayoko din ng misunderstanding in our class, and ayoko din na malito kayo or ako sa mga pangyayari. So let's proceed. Okay, wait lang ha. I'm replying kasi to some messages regarding the third year. Okay, so number one, students shall sign in before the start of the class and leave the platform at the end of the official class time. So our official class time is actually 1:30, and I think you will be coming from a lunch break, correct? So 1:30 and we will be ending 3:30. I'll do my best. I promise that to you guys to finish 3:30 on the dot. Okay? Always in our class. Eto na ha, if I would extend, siguro just give me 15 minutes at most. Okay? So with regards to our classes, since our class is starting 1:30 p.m., so I would need everybody to be here at exactly 1:30. Okay? You will not be transferring from one Google Meet to the other because you are coming from your lunch break. So I am expecting that all of you will be here at exactly 1:30. Why, sir? Because my quizzes will exactly start at 1:30 p.m. Am I clear? So all my quizzes will start at 1:30 p.m. So take for example, you came in late. So whatever time was left for you to take the exam, that will only be the time left for you. Okay? So what about, sir, if I have a reason, I have an excuse? Later, we'll talk about that in a short while. So, secondly, students shall participate in the online discussion. So, when I say that participate, we're not just talking about reciting verbally, but also in the chat box. I do count that as class participation. That's why every now and then I will ask you to answer questions. I insert some questions in the lecture, so you have to answer it on the chat box, or on the other hand on the TLC for our discussion board. So all of those things are very important. Okay, so third, students shall submit all the course requirements as specified by the faculty instructor. So all of the requirements that I have mentioned a while back, all of those things you need to submit, and not only submit it on time. Okay, submit it on time. So for the laboratory, they will be discussing how will be the system in your laboratory. But as for the okay, as for the what do you call this? As for the lecture, I'll be giving you the specific time naman. So sabihin na natin, 'di ba? You almost have a week to work on some of the submissions. Okay? Some of the submissions. I understand na of course you will still be doing a lot of things. That's why I will not bombard you too much na isend sa akin on the same day. Okay? So, fourth, students shall notify the faculty or the instructor if there are connectivity concerns as early as today. Okay? As early as today, I would need an email or a letter coming from any of you who have connectivity issue to update me ahead. I don't want to be surprised. Um, I don't want to be surprised at the very moment of my exam. So I need everything in advance. So please, if you are having connectivity issues later in some of the factors in our course, if you are that person, I would need you to send me an email as early as today. Okay? So that magawa na natin ng paraan. And I would know how to manage your class and also the students who have problems with internet connections. Again ha, it's your responsibility to notify me. I will not be going around looking for every single one of you. As an adult, okay, I will treat you as an adult. I will treat you as a professional. So I would expect you to act as one. So I would need you to inform me and notify me whenever you will not be around in my class. Okay? Whenever you will not be around in my class. So, I'm very, ano naman, I'm very lenient. You can ask the third year, the first years. I'm very lenient naman when it comes to valid excuses. So, fifth, students shall also be the one accountable for informing the professor if they cannot sign in both the synchronous and asynchronous platform. Um, Having said that, okay, having said since I'm here in the asynchronous part, for the longest time, I am uploading my video discussion in all of my subjects last semester, and most of them, they preferred the YouTube, okay? First and foremost, okay, baka sabihin, first and foremost, those videos are not public videos, okay? Those are private, unlisted videos that only TUA students can access. So let me ask you now on the chat box, what do you prefer? Just the Google Drive recording of the 2 hour lecture, or you would go with the YouTube? Can I see the consensus of the class in the chat box now? Okay. Most who are answering are from choosing YouTube. Okay. Okay, no problem. So, um, the reason why I'm asking you this because I will, aside from the TLC, okay, this has been my practice since last sem. Aside from the TLC, right after a class, I upload it in YouTube. Most of my class are in YouTube. I upload it in my in YouTube, and then unlisted link. The link will be given to your TLC, and the video will be embedded in the TLC as well. But I believe that if you are using your TUA Wi-Fi, okay, can you please confirm? If you are using your TUA Wi-Fi, there would come a time that you cannot access TLC anymore because it's not part of the Study Anywhere promo of this of Smart. Okay, so I'm also suffering from that because I have the TUA Wi-Fi, so I cannot access the TLC using my TUA Wi-Fi. Okay, that's why I will also be sending emails, updates to you guys. So that's very important. Okay, so I'm sending announcement through TLC, TLC Messenger, and also through TUA email. Okay, so again, inform me ahead of time. So number six, in if in case there are sickness or emergency situation in your family, that's very understandable. That's very acceptable. You can just inform me ahead of time, okay? Or just um, inform me as soon as possible. Okay. So seventh, faculty instructor should give or provide an orientation on the conduct of online quizzes, major exam, and practical examinations. That will be 3 slides away from this slide. So we'll talk about that in a short while. Students are expected to abide in the etiquette of the CMT virtual classes. And last but definitely not the least, all the quizzes and examinations, the conduct of it will still be the same with the campus-based quizzes and major exams. Okay, so so far, are there any questions or clarifications that you want to make for the conduct of our online classes? Are there any questions, clarification? Okay. So if you have any questions, ayan, sir, gumagamit po ba kayo ng SEB kapag quiz? Okay, one moment. I'll just have to take this. Ano. Okay, so going back, where was I? So there were no questions. So let me just proceed with the virtual etiquette. So first, okay, please remember to always be punctual. With regards to latecomers in my quizzes, um, I will not be giving you grace. When it comes to quizzes, I'll start on the dot. So 1:30, we'll start our quiz all the time. So take for example, later I'll explain the online quiz guidelines to you guys. So we always have to come prepared. So if there's one thing now that we can actually prepare starting today, okay, we can start preparing already. We can actually all the practices that you would be needing when you go to third year, we can start now para hindi na kayo masyadong mabulaga or mag-adjust drastically. You can actually start your preparation as early as today. Okay, as early as today. So please always come well groomed, okay, neatly, since we're online and all the classes will be recorded. Have a neat backdrop. So clean, neat backdrop. You can use virtual backgrounds para to save time. And also, having said this time, since we are just meeting once a week, okay, once a week, I'll be requiring your cameras to be open during the class. Okay. During our entire discussion. Okay. So again, if there are problems with connectivity, do not hesitate to send me an email. I'll give my email later. Okay? Kasi maraming emails sa isa kong email naliligaw. Okay? Have a noise-free space. Of course, we cannot avoid this all the time, but as much as possible, minimize noise during classes. No eating and smoking. Sir, no eating and smoking. Yeah, no eating and smoking, but sometimes I allow students specifically kapag ganitong oras. Hindi ko alam kung sino, I don't know who among you right now are still awake because it's already 2:39 and your food starting to get digested and metabolized. So baka yung iba sa inyo, 'di ba? Kinukuha na ng kadiliman, so lumaban ka. Or you can make a cup of coffee so that you'll be awake until the end of our discussion. Okay? So, next, no playing with house pets. Of course, full attention on the lecture. Use of English language when it comes to recitation. So, I don't know if Emma can already understand and speak Tagalog fluently, but even if that's the case, we'll still be following the English language for recitation and all of your recitations. So avoid multitasking. Okay, avoid multitasking. Sabi nga nila, we cannot hindi ka pwedeng mamangka sa dalawang ilog. Okay? So Erica Tan, translate that to Emma. Okay? So truly, 'di ba? Even in online, you cannot film a TikTok video while watching while taking the class, 'di ba? You cannot watch your favorite Netflix show while listening to the class. So that would actually reflect so greatly in the coming quizzes that you will be having. So mind you, no multitasking um, during our class. And of course, last but not the least, use effective and respectful communication and engagement all the time. Okay, so thank God for the raise hand button. So you can raise hand to be acknowledged if you have any questions or clarification. You can also use the chat box if raising your hand would take you more time compared to just messaging on the chat box. So either of the two, you can do that. Okay, so aside from that, for our male and female students, of course, for everyone, so have a neat appearance. So for male, short hair, no earrings, also no sando. So no sando sa ibang araw niyo na i-flex yung gusto niyo i-flex. For the female, tidy hair, no loud, okay, no loud facial cosmetics and hair colors, okay, and no nail polish. So always tie your hair, even online. Okay. So of course, wear decent and smart casual clothes for male and for everybody. Use shirt with round neck or with collar and pants. and foot cover. Sir, pati ba yun? I-check mo? Of course, I don't know if I'll be able to check it, but the idea is, pag nakita ko man, dapat you're wearing pants and you're wearing such. Okay? Hindi yung pagtayo nyo sa screen, nakita na naka-boxer ka pala or some shorts na undergarments only. Okay? So, moving forward. Okay? Moving forward, let's go now to online quiz guidelines. Okay? So, ayun, naalala ko na bago ko na-interrupt kanina was the question of Aaron, the SEB, correct? Wait, hindi lang mata ko. Tama ba? Yung SEB. So, currently, we're finalizing if we're gonna use SEB or not. To be honest, ako may pasimuno ng SEB. So, wag nyo sana akong isumpa. But, will finalize it, and once final, will update you immediately. Okay? So, for the quizzes, it will be administered through TLC and through your TLC, your TUA Learning Cloud. So, whether we are gonna use your SEB or not, I'll update you next meeting Tuesday. If what on the final decision. Okay? So the required equipment will be laptop. May I know lang, who among you is not using laptop currently? Or okay, si Arvin, Aaron, Moira. Right now yan, no? But ayun din talaga. I know it's a big challenge for you guys, even Anna. Ayan, I know it's a big challenge for you guys. So, please make sure, okay? Please make sure that you are able to, at the very least, majority of the time, specifically kapag may mga activities tayo like quizzes, ganon, kayo, ha? Makapag gamit ng at the very least mas malaking screen para hindi kayo mahirapan. Okay? So, I have to turn off my cam ha. Medyo nag-anghap din ng mata ko. Pinupunasan ko siya. Okay. So, all our quizzes will be timed. So, 30 seconds to 1 minute for multiple choice and even identification, 1 minute to 5 minutes for essay and computations. Okay? So, quizzes should be finished within the allotted time. So, personally, I'm very lenient because I give 5-minute kumbaga, like for example, the quiz is 15 minutes, okay? I usually give like 5 minutes allowance before the entire quiz will close. Okay? So no backtracking is allowed. So all of your quizzes will be sequential. So students shall remain logged in to the Google Meet link during quizzes. So like this one, all throughout, you must be in the Google Meet. Okay? Google Meet camera should also be open during the quizzes and even in the major exams. Okay? So you need to open your camera. Later on, I'll show you the configuration, the angle of the camera that will be needed for your online quizzes. I know it would be a bit challenging. Okay? I know it would be a bit challenging for some of you, but consider it your training because if the PRC decided to have your online board exam, then at the very least you're prepared, you're ready, and you're good to go. Okay? So next, with regards to background noise, of course most of you are muted naman the entire quiz, so that will not be a problem. So only one attempt is allowed for your quizzes. So if you accidentally submitted it or there were errors or something happened during your quiz, you would need to have an oral revalida. I guess you're very much familiar with that with Mom Nell already. So once submitted, all your final answers are submitted and those are already final. So Miss Quizzes. So let us define what do we mean by Miss Quizzes. It will result to a 0 score. When we say Miss Quizzes, like for example, you're late. You don't have, sabi ko naman, di ba? If you have problems with the internet, okay, you would inform me ahead of time. Like for example, you have problem with such, you missed the quiz, you came in late without valid reason or excuses, then that will not be counted anymore. Okay, you will be getting a 0 mark. So it's your responsibility, ladies and gentlemen, okay, my soon to be professionals, it's your responsibility to inform your instructors for your concerns. I will not be coming after you asking you, uy, mag-exam ka naman na. Uy, ganito, ganyan. No. Okay? You're already in the second year. Okay? So I'll be expecting that you are more responsible this time compared to CPH. So if you have any problem with your internet connectivity, I will not be coming after you like a mad dog asking you to take your exam. It's your responsibility to monitor if you have missed an activity or a quiz or a requirement. Okay? Having said that, let me reiterate it to you once again that you would need to check your TLC and your email all the time. Okay? By the way, who is the class president? Who's the class president? Because I cannot see Sheila anymore. Okay, see Trisha Shapno. Okay, so Trisha, I'll be sending you a message every now and then kapag may announcement ako. Okay? So we might actually create a group chat for all the president so we can communicate there for the quali in general. Okay? So aside from that, okay, after justification, so take for example na justify naman, the special exam will be an oral revalida. Okay? Oral revalida of the topic. Okay? So that is for the online quizzes. Are there any questions so far? Any questions, concerns, clarifications that you want to make? Now is the time. My questions? None. Okay. Okay, let's proceed. So for your major exam, okay? Thank you so much, guys. For your major exam, okay, here's the thing. We will only be having 3 major examinations. No semifinals. We'll be having prelim, we'll be having midterms, and we'll be having your final examination. The time allotted will always be 1 hour and 30 minutes only. It will be divided into 2 parts. The first part will be a multiple choice questions, and the second part will be a mixture of matching type, identification, case study, and even essay. Okay? So students who will be missing an examination, either part 1, part 2, or both, must notify the instructor immediately and submit a formal letter of explanation within the day. Okay? So we need to you need to inform me if there are any problem with regards to your exam. So no make-up exam will be given to the students who fail to notify their instructor. So take for example, isang araw na ang nakalipas, 2 araw na ang nakalipas, tapos ngayon mo lang naalala, you will not be given a special or a make-up exam for that. Okay? But to tell you honestly, ako personally, I check it immediately after the exam. So, or rather, I check if all of the students were able to take the exam. At the very least, on my part, I still message you guys. So, please, okay, do not also forget to submit it to me. Okay? Next, unless announced, okay, examination will follow the remaining guidelines for your online quizzes. So all the other guidelines in your online quizzes is also applicable for your major examinations. Okay? So siguro things that I also want to ano na lang din no, inform you. You should also read the instructions for your quizzes and your major exams all the time. Okay? So hindi na excuse yung hindi ko nakita yung instruction, hindi na excuse, that will not be an excuse anymore. Okay? So you need to read the instructions carefully and understand each and instructions. Okay? So with regards to the camera, so this is the setup. I believe this was already announced to you before, but there was some retaliation when it comes to the setup of camera. I saw some across Facebook, Instagram, and even Twitter. So guys, pag ganon, you can communicate your concern to your ano, you can communicate your concerns to your faculty and not, not badmouth anyone. So responsibility rin natin 'yan. Okay, na pangalagaan yung inyong reputasyon kasi if your employers saw those postings in your social media, then that would just be that would become a reflection of you already. Okay, so be careful on those. So when it comes to the camera, I believe that a lot of you, um, maybe some of you will be having problem, or I'm expecting na problems when it comes to that. I'm not in particularly requiring a new webcam. I'm not I'm not after that. Okay? Why? Because you can use your phone. Right now, you can, like, for example, you can buy like ano ba to? This one, like a phone stand. You can buy one and then put your phone there and then log it in to your Google Meet. So we can do that. And I hope na the reason why we are after this kind of setup during exams, it's not an issue of us not trusting the students or us wanting to burden you, but it is just preparing you. Okay? If in case, again, I'll say it, if in case online board exam will be pushed through within the year or even next year. Okay? So that's the reason, ha. It's not to burden anyone or not to doubt anyone. Okay? So I would want a setup where I can see your desk, I can see your screen. Okay? That's very important to me. Kasi I can see if you are really on the exam or you're browsing other platforms. I know some of you would say, "Sir, that's the point of using SEB." Yes, that's the point of using SEB. I know. Um but we'll wait for the final announcement. Okay? I am waiting for the final decision if we're gonna apply it across all year levels. Okay? Across year levels. Because I know personally, I had a lot of problem with regards to some students with regards to the compatibility of SEB on their computers. So I'm nearing the end. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them shortly. So if there are class suspension, okay, another thing, if there are class suspension, okay, wag muna magpo-post ng sana all. Maghintay muna ng announcement from our university. Ayan, you have Louis here, the FESMET officer. So wait for an official announcement before uh, wait for an official announcement. Okay? So all announcements will be coming from TUA. Eh, and mind you, okay, when it comes to our class suspensions, there are two types of class suspension now. Okay? Class suspension of the synchronous class and suspension of all types of classes. So sometimes only the synchronous classes is suspended, but asynchronous classes will still push through. Minsan naman, the other way around, the 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 one that will follow will actually be your what do you call this, your the entire modality, either synchronous, asynchronous, are all are all what do you call this, it will all be suspended. Okay, so I would need you to take note of that. Okay? So while resting, okay, guys, this is my consultation hours. Monday to Friday, 1:30 to 3, Tuesday and Friday, 3 to 4:30. So, what is the use of the consultation hours? Take, for example, you have questions, tapos free time nyo yung time na yan. You can approach me and I can actually discuss things with you. Take, for example, may hindi clear sa lesson, sa discussion, feel free to do so. Okay? Feel free to approach me. So, before we end, I would need to have an updated learning device survey. So please scan the QR code on your screen right now or go to the link on your screen and answer the Google form. At the end of the Google form, you will be seeing there upload COR. By the way, who among you are officially enrolled na? Yung may COR, raise hand if you have your COR already. Just a few. Okay, konti pa lang. So, for some of you who don't have your COR to upload, I'll be posting kasi a separate ano. Yeah, okay. I'll be posting a separate um, platform, or rather I'll be posting a separate part on our TLC where you can upload your COR. But for the sake of this Google form, upload na lang kayo ng any picture. Yung ano ha, decent picture. So any ano na lang, just upload any file so that you can submit the form. What's important for me is the information regarding your devices, your TUA, your Wi-Fi para we can plan ahead. Ayan, thank you so much Josiah for posting the link. So that will serve as your attendance as well for this afternoon. So you're 27. I'm actually expecting 31. I don't know if those are the eregs, if may ereg man sa class ninyo. So are there any questions, clarifications that you want to ask? Questions? Please raise your hand to be acknowledged. May question ba? Okay, for those pala who came in late, I'll be sending the recording of this video. So make sure that you go through it, okay? So that you will not be missing anything. Are there any questions? Clarifications or what? Meron ba? Okay, hindi na po sila namamansin. Sumasagot ng form. Okay, none daw. None. Okay, it's 3 p.m. Okay, it's 3 p.m. If you don't have any questions or clarifications, again, guys, I'll be uploading the orientation PowerPoint, but please make sure to really take time to read your syllabus, the orientation PowerPoint, so that hindi tayo yung tanong-tanong every now and then. With regards to my quizzes, expect my quizzes to always be every Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Sir, are we going to have a quiz already on Tuesday? No. I'll be starting my lecture on Tuesday, so please make sure that all your enrollment will be settled already. And yeah, I'll be giving announcements na lang din for the journal on Tuesday. So if you don't have any questions, please make sure to answer the Google form posted on your chat box, presented on your screen right now. And that is it for me today. So thank you so much. Yeah, you can use the ID. Yeah, that's fine. So kung walang COR, so if you don't have any questions or clarifications, you may now leave the platforms, and please make sure to answer the Google form. Okay? So that would be all for today. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday, Feb 1. Feb 2, rather. Okie dokie, bye. Hmm? Chat.